Yeah, but I think it's inevitable when you're dealing with opposing ideas, then you eventually it's going to reach a critical point where you're going to try to shut each other down, because that is actually the end goal. I get it that, like, I buy that argument, like, oh, I don't agree with what you say, but you have a right to say it, that kind of nonsense. But I've actually kind of refined my view on that. That I think people who don't support free speech, I think they should not have free speech.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't actually know. I think
you know what? You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, it does make sense. No, it makes 100% sense. You know why? Let me tell you why. All right, I'm sick and tired of this shit. You have no. Okay. You know what? Would a vegan go to a butcher and say, "How do we best protect animals from being killed?" Yes or no?
Not eating it. No.
No, but do you think a vegan would be like, this guy kills animals, let me go and ask him how best not to kill animals? No, because he's like, this is the complete opposite of the world I want to live in.
Yeah,
so someone who doesn't believe the very fundamental of our society, as far as I'm concerned, has no right, or rather, I don't care what they think anymore. Because if I said to you,
that's a different.
Hang on. Would I go to a pedophile and say, how do I best take care of my child?
No,
why not, man? He has to have a vested interest in the goal that I want. Now, people who say I don't believe in free speech, as far as they've lost their right to have now a say on free speech.
That's not how any of this works. That's not how this works.
I don't know.
We'll make it work that way.
That's how it should work. If you I think women should be slaves, sex slaves, then I'm not going to ask you how do we further.
Do you even understand what they're taking their right to free speech means?
What do you mean?
Well, of course I understand.
How would that work? Tell me.
So basically,
let me read this.
What's the question? What's the question?
Okay, let's say some people don't respect free speech. Okay.
Yep.
Now you want to take away their right to free speech. How would you do that?
So, for example, every time, let's give an example, right? Muslims say we don't, you can't blaspheme against Prophet, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I would say, fair enough. You've now lost your right. You're now advocating for something which is complete opposite of which is the fundamental basis of this country, right?
Yeah.
So how would you take it away? Firstly, the soft approach would be to say we don't
find them,
right? You could find them.
No, find them for what?
I would say
wait.
No. I mean, wait a sec. I'm the one who floated this idea, so I've actually thought a lot about it. And
you're denying him his free speech.
Maybe Armin. No. But maybe Armin can think as I speak. So I say I'm not saying that they should be fined for recording their offense. That hey, you have insulted the Prophet. No. Well, I'm not saying we should go that far. I am saying this should only be applied to
lose your vote. Lose your vote.
No, not even that. No,
seriously, think about it. If you want to play, hang on.
You'll understand my argument better.
If you want to play part of the game, you have to accept the rules.
You have a citizen. Okay, so you have a UK citizen who says I think free speech is nonsense. Now that citizen cannot vote.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. If me and you go into an MMA fight. If me and you going into listen. If me and you going into an MMA fight, right, and we both have gloves on, we both accept the rules, and then I pull out a knife and say, "Hey, why can't we just fight?" And he said, "But that's not part of the rules. But the whole point is for me to beat you, right? So what?" But you say, "No, you can't play anymore because you've broken the rules. You can't just make up the rules."
You haven't broken the rules if you just express an opinion.
You
have broken the rules if I come and actually actively try to silence you by intimidation or violence. That's when I broke the rules. So if person A says I don't think Armin should have the right to blaspheme the Prophet, this person has not yet broken the rules. If the person B comes and says I will come scare the shit out of Armin so that he doesn't blaspheme the Prophet.
Okay, fair enough. Then you lose your vote.
That person has and we already put that guy in. We already have laws against that. That guy goes to jail. Under the current existing legal structure, that person has already violated the law and will be
punished. If you guys want to hear the more refined argument,
go on.
So I wouldn't say that you should fine or take away the right, because the person who's saying that person should not blaspheme, this is his right to offense, and people should have a right to offense. So that can't be taken away. That's not necessarily against freedom. Yeah, you did, and I told you. Let me finish my argument, and then
I was going
I've thought a lot about this. I've thought a lot about this. So the only person that comes to my mind who I say that they should be fined initially, jailed, and maybe get the citizenship cancelled. Who are those people? Those are the people who actually use free speech, and they say, I am struggling to for a state where there is no free speech. For example, I want to create a Sharia law country. I want to create an autocratic society, like, or I want to bring in communism or something where you would have no free speech. So there's a clear. Hang on, there is a clear, and I'll give you an example. Hizb ut-Tahrir guy, whatever his name was. Geez, I forgot his name. I debated with him.
Chaudhry Saab.
No. Hizb ut-Tahrir guy in Australia. I debated with him. So he was cornered. Oh yeah, he was cornered. Farouk Uthman, I think. Yeah, that's his name.
Uthman, yeah.
So he was cornered on Australian TV, and he was saying, we're using our free speech to abolish free speech. So this is just basically, this is contradictory, and you have to be a world-class idiot to allow. This is equivalent of saying, here I am an anti-gun person, and I have a gun, and I'm just dropping my gun, and I'm giving it to you, and a person who's saying that I definitely want to shoot you, and you're giving a gun to his head. So these people are, hang on. So these, I want to make sure, Armin, I know you understand, but I want to make sure people understand that. So this is a clear conflict with whatever we stand for. So people have a right to offend. People have a right to say that, oh, you shouldn't be saying that. That's all within the rules of free speech. This is the only time when I think free speech comes under threat, and the other person does not respect free speech, because the free speech person is actually striving to overthrow a government or society that allows free speech.
All right, 3 points. Okay, first of all, under more progressive and advanced countries, we don't have thought crimes. An action must be taken before you could accuse a person of a crime.
Yes.
They can't just, if a guy comes like, hey, this would be my ideal society without free speech. Okay, you cannot criminalize that, because if you do that, then if
I say, I think it's okay to kill Jews, is that a crime? I said, I think it's okay. I didn't say I'm gonna. I didn't say you should. I said, I think it's okay.
It's immoral, but it shouldn't be a crime.
So
right? if you say go ahead and do it, that should be a crime.
I mean, you really lose the point.
I waited for you to finish. Let me finish, okay?
تفضل.
We shouldn't have thought crimes, okay? I believe in the U.S. standard. In the United States, saying that is not a crime. You will still be punished by society. You will be shamed. You will be deplatformed. You would lose your job. None of this is violating your free speech, because the government has you getting deplatformed. I'm okay with you getting deplatformed. I'm okay with you losing all your social media accounts. I'm okay with you losing your job, okay? Because that is not a violation of your free speech. The government still hasn't gotten involved. The government should allow you to say that unless you're inciting violence, or unless you take action into making such a state possible. Then you're actually committing, I don't know, treason or tyranny or something like that, right? So that's one. Secondly, the gray area for this is very vague, right? Based on these standards that you're introducing, I could come and be like, I think that would be better if we have some limitations for free speech. At what point, like, is this all? Have I committed a crime now by just uttering that? Or do I have to come up with a master plan on like step-by-step process? Like, at what level would you be considered me a criminal? Or if I'm just wondering, like, maybe free speech is not that good. Would I now be a criminal based on your standards? Okay. So, and the third thing, Vidu, come back here. I need you for this. Vidu. Okay. The most important part. Okay.
I'm just eating chicken. Sorry, I don't know.
Based on what you guys are saying, okay, based on the standards that you're introducing, you two would be criminals. Okay, you two are introducing suggestions to a state, to have a state where there's some limitations on what people could say. Okay, so based on, and you what you're saying is self-contradictory. Okay, and you're saying that anybody who doesn't respect free speech would be a criminal, and you want to limit other people's free speech by criminalizing it, and because this is circular. So you guys should be the first people who are arrested under these new laws or fined under these new laws because you are actually challenging free speech.
Okay. What was your first point? Sorry, I wrote the second and third point. What was your first point?
Wait, what was it? The first point was thought policing. That
I didn't know all linked to each other. So you were saying that an action needs to be taken before anything can happen. No, so for example, Vito's example was perfect. So he can say it. This is dog whistling. This is exactly what Muhammad Hijab has found his success in. He just says it implicitly, not explicitly, and we know what kind of an impact it has on society. We know that. We know words carry weight. We know you can. Like when people like Ali Dawa say, we're proud of that. Yeah, like in a perfect Islamic society, you should be killed. We know what he's saying. We know how it is being interpreted by people. We know you have to be a world-class idiot not to see that. So I'm like, okay, hang on a second. Okay, the enemy is getting cleverer, so you need to be clever as well. So no, it's not. So it's not as simple as that. I just thought about. I create this perfect dystopia, or in my world, it's a utopia where no one is allowed to do it, and therefore, you're arrested, like Minority Report kind of style. No, I'm not saying that. So words carry weight. So no, first point, I don't think it's that perfect. So anyway, you're saying that what are the standards? Like where are we going to draw the line? Well, I've said it. Like I think the standard is if you say that I am striving for a system, which is actually a crime in most countries anyway, like is akin to treason, that I'm trying to overthrow the government and blah, blah, blah. So you don't just start arresting people when they pick up a gun. You can actually start arresting people before that as well, when you see they're forming organization, where they're actually collaborating. And this happened in the 50s and 60s in America as well, but in the 20s and 30s as well, when there was supposedly a communist revolution about to take place in America as well. So FBI arrested a lot of people just because they were just colluding, organizing, forming organizations and try to think about that. But they didn't do anything practically. They didn't pick up any weapons per se. But the United States did crack down on them. So it can happen. If you say I'm striving for a society or a form of government where there would be no free speech, that is a line. That is a standard. That is where I draw the line. Third point, you say you too will be criminal because you're suggesting there should be limitation on what you can say. Well, there always are limitations to what we say. What Armin, what Vidu gave you an example. He said, I think, and then he can say that. No, I think it should be criminal, because he might say with a little bit of a wink, and then that would spread anti-Semitism, and we've seen that. And these kind of words can have an impact. So therefore, no, I don't think we will be criminal under the criterion that I have set, because I don't think we're saying that we are going to create a society where there will be no free speech.
Okay, if words carry weight and any idiot could tell you what they mean, then you could prove in a court of law that these people actually meant to incite violence or something like that, right? So even if they're using whistle, dog whistles, and anybody can see that these are dog whistles for actual violence or any form of action, then you should be able to prove that in a court of law. And they will, even though they're not saying it directly, then the court should hold them responsible. So there's that, right? Also, you're using an example of what United States used to do. Your example was of the McCarthy era. Is that what you're using as a role model? Because that was horrible. I don't know. Everybody recognized that as a horrible moment in U.S. history. Like, is that what your standard is of what your enforcement of your free speech laws are like?
No, I'm saying that it is plausible when you see that your country,
we hated
your constitution is about to be
plausible.
overthrown.
It's gonna be
overthrown.
No, that's actually a great example of how what your line of thinking could get us at, right? People come in, were like, oh, this could lead to this, and this could lead to this, and all of a sudden, Russian spies will take over the United States, and Soviet Union will, and communism will take over the world if we're not careful. Like slippery slope arguments over limiting. Like your example is a perfect warning to what we shouldn't be doing, because this line of reasoning made United States take actions about anybody that was with multiple degrees of separation from communism, were arrested, questioned, their monies were taken away, their jobs were taken away by the government. And that was a horrible time. Like, if you want to point at people because of their opinions and call them criminals, you're opening a gateway to a lot of government involvement that is not good for anybody.
And as I said, in McCarthyism, you're talking about, so they went too far. Okay, so we can have checks and balances. So I can always talk about that too. So you can also I can also reverse the slippery slope argument as well, because you're saying that it would open up this can of worms. I'm saying no, we will. This is a slippery slope argument. No, we'll keep it very controlled. So these things can go everywhere.
But look at my example. United States, with the standards that it currently has, is doing fine when it comes to free speech.
Because there is no organized movement in the United States. How many Muslims are there? 2%, 3% or something? When they're 20%, let's just say let's just say. Those two. So and when it does become an issue, when it does become a problem, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying do it now. I mean, obviously, like for example, okay, let's use the example of Mohammed Hijab. Yeah, everyone knows what he's doing. He's dog whistling. Yeah, they're doing this and that, but it's still not a threat. There's only 5% Muslims in Britain. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think there's going to be any Islamic takeover of the United Kingdom. I genuinely don't think that. I think these kind of little crimes would keep on happening. Someone would do something erratic, and then we were like, oh, look how bad this is. I don't think that. But I'm saying when someone explicitly says, I am going to overthrow the government and I am striving for Sharia law where there's going to be no free speech, and flogging and stoning of adulterers and blah blah blah. I'm mobilizing units for that. Fair enough. For a long time, you can take that as idiots. Sorry.
No, that's a crime. That's already a crime under my standard.
No, it's not.
I'm mobilizing under my standard. You're mobilizing people to overthrow the regime. Yeah, that's a crime. What is that? Okay.
No. They say we're peaceful. We say we're peaceful. They add the word peaceful. No, but they add the word peaceful in that. We're peacefully campaigning to bring Sharia into this country, and
that. Sorry, that's a good point. Actually, let's say we have we reach a critical mass of whether it's communists or right wingers or Muslim, whatever, right, in a population, and they say we are now setting up a political party. We're now playing the game by the system.
Oh no, political party. I think you should not be allowed to have a political party if you don't agree with the principles of the country.
Right. Okay.
You should be able to say certain things. You should be like, I believe a country would be great if there's no free speech. Okay. But sorry, you will not be allowed in any political party. You should not be able to form a political party. You shouldn't be allowed to serve as a politician. None of that. Okay, these are the standards that you have. You're barred from entering politics.
You know what? I'm gonna do a complete 180 to play devil's advocate here. Okay, you know how we have now. Basically, what we've done is we've put in a prerequisite to say if you want a political party, you have to first accept freedom of speech. Without that, you can't progress forward. Okay, what then? Someone else could say, well, what about I don't know, like some other thing? Like, would you be abortion? Is that another absolute prerequisite? What would you say about LGBT rights? Is that like, for example, when gay people marrying each other? Is that another prerequisite? Where would you draw the line? Why not?
Because as I said,
would you say gay people? If I set up a political party saying I want to revoke gay marriage,
no, that should be allowed because that be allowed. Because so many everything else should be allowed because that would fall under free speech.
So
No, that's the whole purpose of free speech.
I said I want black people not to allow them to marry white people.
Yeah. You could say that, and everything else would apply.
That black-white one is against the Constitution.
Yeah, because discrimination. That's discrimination. Yeah. Well, what is it? Huh?
No, well, that's not yet in the Constitution. They should update the Constitution. That's not in the Constitution.
I mean, I'm not just using American example. I'm using in general as this hypothetical thing, right? It could be in this country, or Australia.
I think it should be clear. I don't know where you draw the line, but it should be like really clear where the line is.
I reckon, in my case, my original premise was someone who does not accept free speech in a society should not be allowed to use free speech. So that's only limited to free speech, because once you have free speech, then you can talk about, by saying that I want to create a totalitarian ideology with this.
How would you do that? Like
the moment you open his mouth, no.
No. I think this should not. I think I would be okay with barring them from politics or holding office. That's the length I would.
Yeah, but
I think you can just shut people up. I think there's no. I mean, you don't even have a single regime that should that is part of the progressive rules. And it's just like, oh, your free speech is now limited. Like we don't what. That is like dystopian. Like that's,
it just sounds so stupid. You know, I get it that people like Uthman Badr and these guys that don't have any power yet. That there's not going to be an Islamic Republic of Australia anytime soon. But it just sounds so stupid. He sits there and he says,
"I think you guys are just so. I think you guys are just so hurt over people just saying things you don't like and be like, somebody should do something about this." I
think it just sounds very stupid when someone says, I'm going to use free speech to abolish free speech.
Yeah, you guys are hurt.
I'm like, come on. Surely we should be able to do something about this.
You guys are hurt. You guys want the government to support you.
I want the government to at least fine him, at least make a statement, okay? Just say, okay.
Maybe you guys need therapy rather than logical arguments, right? Because that's not how governments work. That's not how governments
work. I agree. You can't, even if someone says, I believe in free speech, you can't.
But you would. You would create new laws. It's the rule of the universe. When it does become a problem, you would create new laws, and then you would be arresting these people. You would be then. But my point is, like, why wait for it to blow out of proportion when it becomes 50% of the people are now saying, yeah, you know what? Now you've ruined the society. Now people are really. That's how Iranian revolution would come. Now an autocratic government would come. A big populist autocratic strongman is going to come and is going to overthrow the government, and then he's going to be like, hey,
any regime. Just let me tell you one last thing, okay, and then I will move on. Any regime that you give the power and authority to limit some people's free speech because of the standards that you gave them, eventually they will come after you. Okay, eventually you will lose the control.
We'll deal with it then. Power. Slippery slope argument. We'll deal with it then.
No. This is not one of those slippery slopes that is.
Because you're saying
because every other right is founded upon the right to free speech. If you start limiting that, every other right that you have becomes. Will be challenged.
No,
right?
but no.
And if you give the power that's
exactly what I'm saying.
Government, if you give the power to a government that decides what speech should be allowed and what shouldn't, then you have given them a very, very powerful weapon.
You say what as if I've given a whole range of free. There's only one variable in that. Someone who does not want free speech. That's it. That's the only thing that should not be allowed. It's not that hard.
Okay, so but again, you understand that nobody is a free, like very few people are free speech absolutists.
Yeah, I know. Okay? Exactly.
So given that we are free speech maximalists and not free speech absolutists, and based on this, people who are against free speech, you are opening the door for the definition of who's against free speech to eventually encompass over almost everybody. Right? You could go and ask people like, do you think people should be able to incite violence against the Jews? No. I don't know. Are you now within the circle of you could go ask Muslims. You could challenge every single Muslim. Do you think? You could use this law to kick out all Muslims out of your country. But do you think people should be able? Yeah, go ask. Get the government to ask every single Muslim. Do you think people should be allowed to blaspheme against the Prophet? No, you're a goddamn criminal now.
No, of course not. No, I don't. No. Armin, seriously, I don't understand why. I thought you'd be able to understand that. I am not saying that people. Hang on, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying people don't have a right to be offended. People have a right to be offended, and people have a right to say that. Hey, you should not be saying it. I'm saying who's striving.
I'm not talking about offended.
Okay, fine. All right, let's. Okay. Okay, let's move on then. Okay,
wait,
because you're simply not understanding what I'm saying. I am not saying what you just. So why are you giving those examples that I'm not even saying that your examples don't fit in my
You're
worldview?
not listening to me. I'm not saying go ask Muslims in the street if they're offended. I'm saying ask Muslims in the street whether they think the government should stop us from blaspheming the Prophet. Most Muslims will agree, like, yes, a government should stop you from blaspheming against the Prophet.
How would they be criminal? How would they be criminal under my proposal? How would they be criminal?
They believe in a regime. They would strive for
exactly.
A regime that
That's
would
why I'm
stop
saying
that.
you didn't understand my argument. That's why I'm saying you didn't understand my argument. I am not saying that would be classified as that. Someone thinking or believing that he should not be saying that is not what I'm saying. That their freedom of speech should be taken away. I'm not saying that.
You said anybody who believes that doesn't believe in free speech.
No.
This is exactly what you said. This is exactly the phrase you said. You said people who don't believe in free speech, their free speach should be taken away.
There's the right to free speech. This is what I mean. Okay. This is what I mean.
That's what you said.
So people who do not believe that society should have free speech.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
People who are trying to create a society where there would be no free speech. Okay, I'm refining it now. Okay, so there you go. Okay. No, that's fine. Okay, so fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not winning or losing. I'm trying to clarify it to the best of my ability. Okay, people who say, and I gave the Uthman Badr example for example, he is no free speech model. The Sharia system, where there's no free speech, you can't talk about religion, you can't talk about burqa, you can't talk about.
We're changing it as we go because you realize that your position was not good enough. So I understand that we're changing the position as we're going.
Okay, so my point is not to say that hey, I was always right. My point is to say that I want to make sure you understand my position. So I'm not changing my position. I'm simply refining.
No, it's a better position. It's a better position.
Okay. Let's just get to the bottom of it. Yeah. So I'm saying, a person or an organization or a group of people that say we want to create a society that has no free speech, and I'm going to do that by using free speech. And this is what I'm saying. The person who believes that there should be no free speech should not have a right to free speech.
Okay. And how would you limit that? And how would you limit their free speech?
Yeah, if they are working to create a society. Now, you could argue how they're working. Are they having secret meetings? Are they mobilizing people?
How would you limit their free speech then? How would that look like?
Oh, by them not being able to say that. If they say that, there's a fine. That could fall under subsect or subsection of treason, for example, because you are effectively saying that I don't recognize this constitution, basically.
So that goes way back to the standards that I already have. If somebody is trying to commit treason, that's already a law against that. Okay, and you agree. So originally we said everybody who just believes doesn't. So it needs
more refinement. So it needs more refinement.
I agree. If you keep refining it that way, it's coming more towards me. I agree with that. Okay, but the original position that anybody who doesn't believe in free speech, their free speech should be taken away.
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay, no, that's so you said that, but you didn't mean that. Okay, good.
I don't know if I said that or not, but anyway, but even if I said it, that's fine. That's not what I meant. So again, this is why I kept giving the example of Uthman Badr over and over again. He says it, no free speech, and I'm going to use free speech to get rid of that system that allows free speech. No free speech. Okay.
So it's getting.
They are free speech minimalist. So you can use free speech according to them and say, hey, Islam is a glorious religion in the Islamic Republic of Australia. But you can't say, hey, sorry.
I understand now what you say, but just for other people to be completely clear, if an American comes and says that I believe the government should limit Armin's right to blaspheme against the Prophet, you don't think that person should be fined just for saying that, correct?
No, so say it again.
Okay, good. If an American citizen, a Muslim American citizen, comes and says that I believe the government should stop Armin from blaspheming against the Prophet. That's my belief. Do you think that Muslim American should be fined? Yes or no?
No, of course not. No. He has a right to say that. Okay. I'm saying he's creating a system, overall system, not just a little law that he should be stopped. Okay. This is what I've been trying to say the whole time.
Okay.
No.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah,
all right. Hey, so Vidu, do you agree that we should not give a right to those people who are working, who are striving or struggling to create a system that has no free speech?
I haven't taken my position from taking away their votes. So I'm still there. I'm still there, man. All right, so you got a lot of work to do.
Be careful, Harris is going to come after you. You can
take my free speech away. If you say you don't believe in free speech, you should walk around outside with some sellotape on your mouth. Okay, that should be the punishment. Okay, wear a corona mask. Anyway,
get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.